Well, so let's start. Thank you for being here. My name is Leslie Audigane. I'm project manager at One More Thing since 2019. I come from France. And I want to share with you today how we manage our FileMaker project using the story of our biggest project of the last years. So this project was for a holding company, which is one of the biggest publishing group in France and in Belgium. And we developed for them a custom app for many of their companies, which are publishing companies, comics, books publishing companies, and comics publishing companies. They also do audiovisual publication and sell audiovisual program. So this app, it's 2-person full-time for 3 years. So it's about 9,000 hours of work. It's 12 releases since 2021. The app manages the transfer of rights of all these companies with many functionality like CRM, doing sales reports or billing orders. So I will tell you how we manage our FileMaker project using this story as an example. So first of all, before a new release, what result do we expect for a new project, for a new release? We want to deliver what the user needs. We want to stay within the defined budget and ensure on-time delivery. So at the beginning of the project, we have the balance between the scope, the cost, and the time that we define with the client. And it's important to maintain and have a look on this balance during the whole project. So first of all, understanding the needs of the end user. So we always start with interviewing key users or end users and write technical specification. The technical specification for us needs to be always analyzed with at least one of the developers that will be involved in the project. Also with the project manager, because we both have complementary view when we analyze the technical specification, and ask as many questions as possible to the client to anticipate any question that could arise during the development cycle. And then the technical specification is always validated by the client. So here is the key points of our specification. So we always describe the context, the issues, so what is the problem to solve, the scope describes the activities, the person or the external app that will be involved in this new release, and the most important point, the description of each expected functionalities. So let me take a real-life example to illustrate the importance of technical specification and the importance of analysis. So in the context of the app of this client, the app generates billing orders that are sent to an accounting and billing software. But those billing orders are sent as they arrived. And the issue was that sometimes the billing order are received in the billing software within close monthly periods. So they need to add in our app a monthly closing calendar. And the scope was all billing orders sent to the software. They gave us only 3 rules in the first specification. So we had only 3 rules. The first rule was that the user must have the ability to fill in a monthly accounting calendar. The app must allow billing orders to be sent if the request billing date falls within an open monthly period, and the app must prevent billing orders from being sent if the request billing date is in a closed monthly period. So it seemed very simple for the client, but we analyzed their specification and we had many questions. For example, is the accounting calendar is the same for all billing entities? Because we knew that they had several billing entities. Is it the same for all clients? What should the app do if a date is missing? What should the app do if a billing order is sent between the closing date and the end of the month, etc. So we send them all our questions. They answered those questions, and they did not anticipate all the special cases. So at the end, we had more than 20 rules in this specification. So this step of analysis was really important. So to me, specification can take any form. So for this client, we have a Word document with a precise framework. But for other projects, it can take any form as long as it's precise, complete, well-targeted, and with the client approval. With the example that we've just seen, the requirements were higher on the second version of the specification. So I had all elements to tell to the client that costs or time will be higher. So we could start in good condition, and we had a new estimation of the cost and time that was higher after this step of analyzing the specification. So now that we know precisely what we have to do, we can start the development process. So the next step is the organization of the project and the definition of tasks. So I think we all use Kanban boards, and to define tasks here also we have to be as precise as possible. But with complete specification, this step is very easy because I just have to mention when the task should be finished, who is assigned, and always one person, because if we assign more than one person, we always have the risk that each relies on the other to do the task and nothing is done. So only one person assigned. How much, how long should it take, and what they have to do. And I just copy-paste the specification in the task. So this step is really optimized by the specification when they are precise and complete. Then we just have to make the project live. So here the most important thing is communication. So first, communication with the client, with regular reporting to the client. So in the context of this project, we had one weekly meeting of 1 or 2 hours. But for other type of project, I think maybe just an email or a phone call is enough to do a report to the client, but it's really important to communicate with them. The communication within the team also is important. All the development team must get the same level of information all along the project, especially in the case of changes, because even if the technical specifications are complete and precise, some changes can always occur. So in this case, I always ask to have a new version of the specification. I reorganize the tasks for developer. And here, so communication is important, and everybody must get the same level of information. And again here, review cost time if requirements change and inform the client. Even if the changes did not have impact on cost or time, I think it's good to inform the client that the changes request can be put in this release, but without any impact on cost or time. Then an important step, the user test. So I think we all have sometimes difficulties to motivate users to test the app. And in the context of this app, after 1 year, a user did not test the app. And we had many maintenance requests and reports or comments that could have been anticipated if the users had tested it. So with the help of the new product owner of our client, we organized all day dedicated for test. So all the key users, about 10 or 12 I think, were invited for 1 day in a meeting room to test the app. They all came, maybe because the product owner also organized a big breakfast at the beginning of the day, but they were all here. And it was a success. They stayed the whole day. They tested the app. It was really enriching because I was here. The main developer of the app was here also. And we talked with the users. We answered their question. We correct some minor issues live. And at the end of the day, we had many comments to improve this release. So it was really a success. So since this day, we always organize a dedicated test time, not all day, but it depends on the size of the release. It can be on-site or remote, but I think it's more efficient on-site. No. Yes, we closed the door, but not locked. Now, during this dedicated test time, I always start with a presentation, small training of new features before let the user test the app. And it's a very special time to have end users' feedback. And now some of the key users cannot come at every test time, but now they have understand that it's important. So they are now motivated to test the app on their own when they cannot come. So I think it's really a success. The second method we use to motivate user to test is to provide them a test book. So again, here with a complete and precise specification, it's quite easy to write the test book. So here is a very simple example, but just to show you how I write this test book. Donc, I have a column for functionality to be tested. I describe the test conditions, so just what the user have to do, and the expected result. And the last column is for the user. He can just tell us if it was okay or not. And it's useful to correct the app because we know precisely the condition that the user had when a condition was not did not give the expected results. So here is a yes. an Excel worksheet. So here is a sum up of the feedback for a user test. So on dedicated test time, training before test is really useful because users are well informed about the new development. It's an ideal opportunity to talk with key users, and user tests are run. About testbook, the defined tests are run, but unfortunately there's not so much off-track testing. But sometimes when they do a defined test, they think, yes, with this special client, I have to do that condition, but in a quite different way. So sometimes they can do some off-track testing, which is also interesting, but not so much. Here, those two steps are useful and leads to a user test, but it's time consuming, so it have to be planned at the beginning of the project because it has an impact on cost and time. Then what's next? If necessary, we adapt and correct the app before the release and after user test, and we deliver the app. And then for each release, we always have a retrospective talk to improve the method. So it's informal, but just discuss about what worked well, what did not, and how can we improve our methods. Here is a summary of the keys to success. So about the method, it's really important to write clear and complete specification because it helps the work after. There is the organization of tasks, the communication with the clients, and the communication within the team, which are important. User tests always maintain the balance between scope, cost, and time, and have a retrospective at the end of each release. I did not talk about tools because to me it's not so critical as long as we have a structured method and follow this method. And to conclude here, I listed the advantages and disadvantages of this method. So regarding advantages, we reduced developers' time in meetings. We optimized the development time and minimized the possibility of disagreement with the client. Regarding disadvantages, writing specification and support user test is really time consuming, so it increases the cost of project management of each release. But the main conclusion is that we have a higher client and user satisfaction with this method, and the user of this app are really satisfied of the app. Yes. Yes, I think it's a good balance. Yeah. So for this client, for a release, I always add about 25% of time estimate by the developer. I add 25% for project management for this client, but I think it depends on the context. What do you mean by buffered? Mm-hmm. Okay, so in development time we include that. We always estimate with the correction. So this method can be adapted to the context of some other project without problems. So thank you for your attention, and if you have more questions. Yes, hi. For 3 years. Yeah. The user did not complain, but the development cycle, I think, um, so this client asked us many documents. So even with another method, I have to write many documents for them. So the project management for them is really high. So I don't think that even with this method, we had the opportunity to reduce the time of development cycle, but it's very specific to this client. Mm-hmm. Yes, sometimes, but we try to reduce it as much as possible with our analysis. Because as it's a long project, we really have a precise idea of each the daily work of our users. So as we well know their daily work, we can anticipate with our questions during the analysis of specification. But anyways, yes, at all dedicated test time, there is always one or two key users. Oh, it would have been great if you had something or something. And yes, but we just write the new request and it goes to the backlog for the next release. Yeah. The we always do this analysis with me and one of the developer of the app. Just me with the client, then I analyze with the developer because our view are really complementary to have as many questions as possible. Yeah, yeah, but sometimes, yes, the developer have to come in meetings with the client. Yes, sometimes. Hmm. Yes, but with this method, the developer told me that it was more comfortable for him because he spent less time in meetings with the client. Yes. Mm-hmm. It's possible, but actually I do that at the end because if there is small changes during the development cycle, I prefer to write the test book at the very end of the development cycle. And the precise specification really helped me to write the test book. Yeah. Yes, I see. Yes, but those precision are usually made by the product owner of the app, and that's also what I wait from the users when I talked about off-track testing. If they always write with underlined, to me, they have to test their own specific because I don't know everything about their daily work. So that's the one of the only bad point of this method is that with test book, sometimes they do off-track testing, but usually they just read what we ask them to do, and at the end, okay, stop, finish. So we have to improve it. Yes. Yes, we have a qualification. We have a qualification environment with the new release and their fresh data. Mm. No. No, no. Yes, development, qualification, and production. Yes, yes, I write it also. That's what I said. That this client asks us many documents for each release. Yes. Actually, I put a PDF of the DDR in the documentation of the app. That's an idea, yeah. So you mean the period between the first meeting with the client and the first release?
Either the first meeting and the specification, or maybe even the first specification and the final specification. You know, when you write your specification
Mm-hmm.
to the client, they go, it's not what I meant. And you have to do a secondary technical
Ah, okay.
specification.
First meeting to latest revision.
It must be 20% of 3 years.
It's 25%, I think.
It depends on the feature.
That answered my question.
It depends on on the features. Sometimes it's a few days, sometimes weeks, and sometimes months. Actually, today yes, today I'm still waiting for the answer of our question for a specification that they gave me last year. So it really depends on feature.